Designing your life teaches you how to take a design-based approach towards your life in order to live better and optimize the life you lead in every single way and in every single area of your life. The book was co-authored by Bill Burnett, one of Apple's original designers, and Dave Evans, a mechanical engineer and previous vice president of talent for Electronic Arts, the video game company. Bill and Dave also teach a popular class together at Stanford that teaches students how to leverage design thinking to customize a personal and professional lifestyle optimized for maximum fulfillment. This book is based on that Stanford life design class. One of the most important points that the authors reiterate constantly throughout the book is that any one of us, anyone, anywhere you are, no matter where you are in life, no matter who you are, you can design and live out a joyful, purposeful life. Regardless of your past, regardless of your failures, and regardless of whatever skills you believe you may or may not have right now that could be holding you back, always remember this. When you take a design approach to your life, you will learn exactly how to evaluate your biggest challenges, reframe your thinking, and try solutions as you find what works specifically for you. This design thinking approach, this design first approach, takes the pressure off of needing to know exactly what you want and how to get it. Instead, you can just try options that seem interesting, enjoy the journey, and add or subtract choices as you design your life. It leads to a dynamic, energetic, and fulfilling lifestyle where you're always growing and changing for the better. Here's what you'll learn about specifically in this book summary. First, we'll talk about how you can learn to go from where you are right now to where you want to go, to the type of person you must grow into in order to get there as well. Next, we'll discuss how to sort through several options and choose the ones that suit you best by using techniques like wayfinding and prototyping. You'll also learn how to practice living a life where you can positively reframe negative situations and utilize them to your advantage. Let's go over some crucial quotes from the book before we dive into the big ideas. Quote, "You can use design thinking to create a life that is meaningful, joyful, and fulfilling. Doesn't matter who you are or were, what you do or did for a living, how young or old you are, you can use the same thinking that created the most amazing technology, products, and spaces to design your career and your life. A well-designed life is a life that is generative. It is constantly creative, productive, changing, evolving, and there is always the possibility of surprise." Quote, "In life design, we reframe a lot. The biggest reframe is that your life cannot be perfectly planned, that there isn't just one solution to your life. And that's a good thing. There are many designs for your life, all filled with hope for the kind of creative and unfolding reality that makes life worth living into. Your life is not a thing, it's an experience. The fun comes from designing and enjoying that experience." Quote, "If you become open-minded enough to accept reality, you'll be free to reframe an actionable problem and design a way to participate in the world on things that matter to you and might even work. That's all we're after here. We want to give you the best shot possible at living the life you want, enjoying the living of it, and maybe even making a difference while you're at it. We are going to help you create the best designed life available to you in reality, not in some fictional world with less gravity and rich poets." Tweetable summary. The key to designing your life starts with replacing questions like, what do you want to be, with questions like, what do you want to grow into? Big idea number 1, accept where you are. Acceptance. That's why you start where you are. Not where you wish you were, not where you hope you are, not where you think you should be, but right where you are. The process of designing anything begins with understanding and accepting the current situation. When you're designing your life, you take the same approach. The current situation, where you are right now, will likely have problems. It's important to figure out what the real problem is, and there's no use designing a solution to the wrong problem. The authors tell us to approach our lives through the filter of design thinking, which works like this. Problem finding plus problem solving equals a well-designed life. Dave, one of the authors of the book, was at one time enrolled in the biology program at Stanford. Dave thought his career path was marine biology. Due to the influence of Jacques Cousteau's show and his favorite high school teacher, who was also his biology teacher, Dave thought biology absolutely had to be his calling. Now, since Dave thought his problem was how to become a marine biologist, he worked gruelingly hard at solving this problem. Unfortunately, however, regardless of how hard Dave worked on his problem of graduating with a biology degree and becoming a marine biologist, he still ended up with terrible results nevertheless. He repeatedly got terrible grades and continued to show a total lack of interest and enthusiasm for the very major that he thought he was supposed to be devoting his professional life towards. After 2.5 years, Dave finally threw up his hands, declaring that marine biology just wasn't his thing, realizing that he was unhappy because he thought he'd found his ideal problem, which was to study to become a marine biologist, when in fact, he'd been focusing on the wrong problem this whole time. Eventually, Dave found his real career problem, a problem he could really thrive within. That is, mechanical engineering. That was his thing, not marine biology. And once he pinpointed the right field of focus, aka the right problem, he switched his focus to it immediately, changing majors from biology to mechanical engineering, and ended up finding much more happiness, fulfillment, and success, helping him create a well-designed life that allows him to thrive. Now, if Dave had taken a design approach from the beginning, right from the get-go, he would have been asking several questions about marine biology before beginning his studies in the first place. He would have talked to some marine biologists and tried to get a hands-on feel for what it might be like to actually be one. It's true for many of us that we take our first idea and then we try to make it a reality before really investigating it thoroughly and carefully. Or we might not see the problem for what it is right from the beginning. There are certain problems that the authors call gravity problems. Just like the force of gravity, gravity problems are not actionable. There's nothing you can do about them. So they're not real problems. In life design, the only problems that you want to focus on are the ones that you can take action on. Save yourself the energy and frustration by accepting gravity problems as just gravity problems that you can't do anything about, instead of trying to fix what cannot be fixed. Of course, there are ways around gravity problems. There are ways you can navigate around them elegantly and seamlessly as to avoid them becoming problems in your life that actually prevent you from achieving your goals. Now, if gravity is slowing down your biking, for instance, you can get a lighter bike. Or you can work on becoming a lighter rider, or learn to bike more efficiently. If you cannot get a job because every employer sees your 5-year unemployment span and immediately declines you, while you cannot change their perceptions, which is a gravity problem, you can change how you appear to them by finding volunteer opportunities within that field, putting professional accomplishments down as well as those volunteer opportunities, or looking for industries that are just less biased. The important thing is not to fight against what cannot be changed. Your first task is to take a life design assessment. Think of your life as having a dashboard with gauges and meters that show where you are in different categories of your life, in different areas of your life. The gauges range from 0, which is empty, to 10, which is full. You want to choose a level for each of the following. Consider, by the way, taking out a notepad, either digital or pen and paper, to do this life design assessment so you can get a clear picture of where you are. The first area you want to look at is your health, including physical, mental, and spiritual. Next, you want to look at your work. This includes all the stuff you do, both paid and unpaid. Then, you want to gauge your play, any activity that brings you joy when you do it. Finally, the last area is love, however you define love. Now, don't feel bad, by the way, if any of these are at 0. The point is to take an honest, non-judgmental look at where you are now, rather than where you think you should be. Once you've established a point for all of these, then you know where you are, and you know where your gaps are. The final part of your life design assessment is to write a brief explanation for each area about why you've gauged each one the way you have. This will really clarify for you where you are right now and where your gaps are, which will then help you move forward with an action plan. Now, moving forward, this will be your health, work, play, love dashboard. And it'll help you design and decide where to start designing your life. Reframing dysfunctional beliefs. Now, before we move on to the next big idea, let's just pause for a moment and take a quick look at a concept that plays an important, incredibly important role throughout the book, which is called reframing. The authors tell us that a reframe is when we take new information about the problem, restate our point of view, and then start thinking and prototyping again. Basically, it's looking at an issue that perhaps might not be helping you, a dysfunctional belief, for instance, and then reframing that, switching your perspective, so to speak, so that you can move forward with it in a positive direction. Here's an example of a dysfunctional belief. I should already know where I'm going. Here's an example of what you might reframe it to. You can't know where you're going until you know where you are. So that's how you would reframe a dysfunctional or negative belief or association into something that can actually move you forward, something you can actually utilize. Now, there will be a lot of reframing when you design your life. With lifestyle design, there's tons of reframing. Reframing is important because it allows you to, again, look at things with a fresh and positive approach, especially at old problems, and it often eliminates problems in the process. The bottom line, we always want to be ready to recognize and reframe any dysfunctional or limiting beliefs that we might be holding on to that prevent us from making progress towards our goals. And finally, before we move on, be sure to remember that the balance you want to achieve on your dashboard is very individual. It's totally unique, and it's completely up to you. Because after all, it's your life, right? So look for any design problems that you want to change and be sure to let go of any of those gravity problems that you just can't do anything about. Big idea number 2, set your compass in the right direction. Quote, if you can see the connections between who you are, what you believe, and what you are doing, you will know when you are on course, when there is tension, when there might need to be some careful compromises, and when you are in need of a major course correction. Unquote. After you've decided where you are, you can begin to build a compass to point the way to your life. You can begin designing your life. Building your compass will require a work view and a life view, 2 separate views, perspectives, so to speak. Once you develop these two views, you can create alignment between the different areas of your life, which helps you set a powerful and purposeful direction that's tailored specifically for you by you. Let's talk about both views here. Your work view is going to be approximately 250 words about what you believe about why you work, what work is for, and what work actually means to you, and how work relates to the world around you, your environment, what you believe is worthwhile, meaningful work, and how work relates to money and abundance, finances, and how work relates to experience, growth, and fulfillment for you. This is about why you work, not what work you would like to do. Again, your work view is about the purpose behind your work, the meaning behind your work, the why that fuels your work. So you want to, again, pull out a journal or a clean sheet of paper or start a document or an Evernote file or something digital on your computer or smartphone and put a heading, work view, and then just go ahead and write out 250 words or so about why you work. What fuels the work that you do? What's the purpose of your work? Why do you find it meaningful? Next is your life view. Your life view is also going to be about 250 words, and it's about your choice of the following thoughts: why you believe we're here, what the meaning or purpose of life is, how life relates to you and others, where family, country, and the world fit into those views, as well as good and evil, good and bad, a higher power, and how it relates to your life, and the roles that joy, sorrow, justice, injustice, love, peace, and strife have in your life. Now, I know that was a lot, and I know it was a lot to take in with both views here, your work view as well as your life view. So feel free to run this back and replay it as you're writing these things out in your journal. Now, you want to take a look at these two together. Once you've finished writing out your 250 words or so for each area, for each view, you want to look at them both together and look at where they agree, where they are in alignment with one another, and also look at where they contrast and which might drive the other. Write down your thoughts and seriously take a look at how these two can be integrated to create something bigger than the sum of its parts. When these two views are in harmony, that's when you'll have designed a more meaningful life plan for yourself. Also, with regard to your compass, true north, so to speak, for you is the combination of these two views, work view and life view. Now, of course, since you can't travel directly from one point to another, your wayfinding towards your destination will adapt to the conditions. Now, when you feel you're not headed in the right direction, when you're not on true north, stop and take a look at your compass. Make sure you're still going in the right direction for you. Finally, here's a quick reminder to replace any dysfunctional beliefs that you might still be holding on to. For example, if you keep repeating dysfunctional beliefs like, I should know where I'm going, try the reframe technique that we discussed earlier by replacing it with, I won't always know where I'm going, but I can always know whether I'm going in the right direction. Big idea number 3, begin wayfinding. Quote, since there's no one destination in your life, you can't put your goal into your GPS and get the turn-by-turn directions for how to get there. What you can do is pay attention to the clues in front of you and make your best way forward with the tools you have at hand. Unquote. Wayfinding is finding your way when you don't know your exact destination. The clues of engagement and energy can help you with this. Start noting when you're really engaged in something and when you're really disengaged, and also when you're in the middle. And you want to look especially for times when you experience flow. That is a state of being in which time just stops, it stands still, when you're totally engaged and fully immersed in an activity. Flow is essentially playtime for grown-ups. And it's something you can experience regardless of whether the activity is a work activity or if it's a play activity. For more information on flow, you can check out our book summary on the book titled Flow by Mihai Csikszentmihalyi over at getflashbooks.com. Or we have actually also made a flow guide with the 9 essential elements of flow and happiness in life that you can get. It's a free audio training, which I've created and made available over at deanbokhari.com. Again, that's deanbokhari.com, DeanBokhari.com, and you can pick up a free audio training that I've created that guides you through the 9 essential elements of bringing about flow states in your life so that you can enjoy your life more, you can get more juice and zest out of the activities that you partake in and engage within, and just all in all, increase your levels of fulfillment and happiness. All right, back to the book summary. Now, you'll find a lot of different activities that will drain your energy, and you'll also hopefully find a lot of different activities that sustain your energy. This is natural. Again, you want to start noting these activities, the ones that drain you and the ones that sustain you. The authors highly recommend having a good time journal where you note the times when you're energized and engaged and reflect on what that means to you. You can find a template for developing and starting your own good time journal if you don't already have one at designingsyour.life. This is the author's homepage with resources and things of that nature. The clues you learn will help you see a path forward that is designed for you as you go through this journal and really start to get to know yourself on a different level. Be as specific as possible about the things that increase your engagement and your energy as well, and the things that decrease your engagement and energy. You might find that working in small groups is incredibly energizing for you, but working in groups of more than 4 or 5 people just drains you. Or you might find that coaching students in a noisy studio is exhausting, but coaching students in a quiet classroom is where you really experience flow. As you learn, you can adjust your schedule and tweak and enhance things to suit what works best for you and adopt those things into your life design strategy. You can also reflect on past experiences and note where you found engagement and energy in the past in your history. The key here is to be as specific as possible about the activities, the environment, the context, the interactions, the objects, and things of that nature that really allow you to create the most fulfilling lifestyle possible. Again, you want to be as specific as possible. Focus on the little stuff. If you've got objects around you during a specific time when you felt flow, note them down. Was your smartphone on the table? Did you have a hockey stick nearby? Was there a sailboat in your periphery? Were you on a sailboat? Who else was with you? What was the weather like? You want to know all these little details down because they accumulate cumulatively into something that really allows you to gain perspective on a better designed life. Big idea number 4, think like a designer. Quote, when you think like a designer, you know how to ideate, how to flare, to come up with lots of options for lots of possible futures. Look, it's simple. You can't know what you want until you know what you might want. So you are going to have to generate a lot of ideas and possibilities. Unquote. One of the great things about designing your life is that there are no wrong answers to doing so. Designers come up with all kinds of ideas and then proceed to try the best candidates to see what will work, to see what's going to stick. You get to replace dysfunctional beliefs like I'm stuck with reframes like I'm never stuck because I can always generate lots of ideas. Also, don't worry anymore about finding the one right solution to any problem. Instead, work on generating lots and lots and lots of ideas so you have lots of possibilities. Never judge your ideas either. Just let them flow. Write them down and enjoy your creativity. Sometimes the craziest ideas end up leading to the best ones. As a life designer, you need to embrace two philosophies, according to the authors. Number one, you choose better when you have lots and lots of good ideas to choose from. Number two, you never choose your first solution to any problem. Try mind mapping to generate creative ideas. Start with one thing that you'd like. Write it in the center of the page and circle it. Then branch off with any words or ideas linked to this central big idea. Continue by further branching out from these ideas. Set a time limit so that you work fast and without judgment. Then look at the map and highlight a few of the most interesting ideas from the outermost layers. Try to mash up these ideas together to form some different options and more new ideas, which will lead to more ideas, which will ideally lead to your big idea that leads to a more successful business, a more successful career opportunity, whatever it is that you're looking for. When you feel completely stuck with a problem, you might be facing an anchor problem. An anchor problem is a problem that the authors tell us just won't go away. Dave is someone who has always had a great shop in his garage. When he downsized, he felt like he still needed this great shop. He had more things than room. He tried renting storage units and then slowly downsizing his things, but his small garage was too full to be his ideal shop. He's anchored on this problem because he's anchored to the one and only solution that he's been willing to accept, a perfect cars plus workshop layout. The solution here is to reframe and prototype. Some options: to reframe the goal to having a workbench plus minimal storage, or reframe to keeping one small storage unit so you can have more room in his garage, or even break down the process of eliminating things, clearing things out, throwing away the junk to make it all more manageable. Once Dave lets go of an unworkable solution, that is, having the same exact garage setup that he did in a bigger house before he downsized, once he lets that go, the unworkable solution, once he forgets about it, gets it out of his mind, he can then start working on finding a workable solution, a solution that's sustainable, one that actually makes sense for his current situation. You see, that's a problem that's anchored within us from time to time. These are examples of problems that we can get anchored into, where we don't want to let go of past solutions and we would just want to apply them to our current situations, even though they don't make sense. You see, when you're stuck, just check and see if you've anchored yourself to a bad solution. You can work on prototypes, which are small samples of an idea that test the waters of a potential solution. You want to be willing, again, to fail fast and fail forward into your next steps. You want to be able to separate the bad solutions from the good ones. Designers, by the way, see failure as simply checking for possibilities, for possible solutions. Now it's time to do some more mind mapping. Get out your good time journal if you don't already have one, and you don't necessarily need to use the template that the authors provide. You can go out and get your own journal, a dedicated, nice leather-bound journal if you like, or you can do this all digitally, although mind mapping is kind of hard to do digitally. There are apps, however. But the point is, you can customize your own style, your own journal. You can get something that's suitable for you and really make sure that you use it, because the more you like it, the more you can get a good feel for it, and the more you enjoy carrying it and holding it and touching it and writing in it, the more likely you are to actually utilize it. So you don't even need to call it a good time journal if you don't want to. You can just get a journal and do these exercises. That's the most important thing. So if you don't have one, get one. Now here are the following maps, the mind maps that you want to consider making here. An engagement mind map, where you start with things that you're interested in and then branch out with related words and concepts. You want to start an energy mind map with things that energize you, and a flow mind map, beginning with experiences where you were in a state of flow and branching from there. Now, you want to take 3 items from the outer ring of one map and try to combine them into a job description. Repeat for each map and draw a quick sketch of each job. This helps you move from problem solving, what do I do next, into design thinking. What can I imagine? Big idea number 5. Start prototyping. Quote, "We prototype to ask good questions, create experiences, reveal our assumptions, fail fast, fail forward, sneak up on our future, and build empathy for ourselves and others. Once you accept that this is really the only way to get the data you need, prototyping becomes an integral part of your life design process." Unquote. One of the great things about designing your life is that you get unlimited tries. Correction shots are always allowed. Now, you can start to think this way by making 3 Odyssey plans, as the authors refer to them. Odyssey plans are possible versions of your life for the next 5 years, and you want to write out 3 of them. 1 based on your current plan, 1 based on what you would do if your current plan vanished, and finally another one based on what you would do if money and or image were just no object. Include a timeline with graphics, a 6-word headline title for your Odyssey plans, as well as questions about the headline and a dashboard for rating resources that you might have or need. You also want to think about how much you like the idea, how confident you feel about it, whether the plan is consistent with your true north, and any other things you want to consider. Share these plans out loud with some really close friends, trusted friends, and look for good feedback. Again, feedback, good feedback, not critique. So have that as a ground rule from the get-go. When you're ready to try out some possibilities, you start prototyping. Try sections or samples of ideas out and see where they lead. One example of prototyping the authors share in the book is about a single parent and recent empty nester named Clara, who was ready to make some professional changes to her lifestyle. Clara wanted to move from what she believed was an unfulfilling sales career to a different career that could potentially bring her more fulfillment. She knew she wanted to help women and then began to keep an eye out for possibilities within that realm. Eventually, she got involved in mediation training, which led to working for 2 years in the juvenile justice system, which then led to becoming involved in the Women's Foundation of California, which eventually led Clara to what she's known as today, a champion for the homeless in her city, as well as a member on a shelter's board of directors. Now, did all of this just magically happen for Clara? Of course not. At first, she didn't even know what she wanted to do. She had no clue she wanted to advocate for the homeless. But as she tried new ideas, those ideas led to more options, which eventually helped her pinpoint her encore career. Clara truly designed the life she's living step by step by thinking like a designer. She built her way forward by doing a lot of prototyping. She taste tested, so to speak, or tried out several small experiments in rapid succession until she found a uniquely fulfilling role that was the right fit for her. And guess what? You can do it too. The beauty of prototyping is so incredibly simple. It just gives you an opportunity to try many different ideas within a very short period of time, sometimes even as short as a single day, to see what you enjoy, what you don't enjoy, and to potentially connect with other people who might be of help if you want to continue pursuing something on a deeper level. If something you prototype doesn't work out, no problem. Simply start prototyping something else and move forward. The key is to just get started. Make a list right now. Hit pause if you need to, and make a list of potential career paths you'd like to start prototyping. Then set a date for when you'll try each one of them out. Even if it means researching that career or contacting someone you might know in that industry, just set a date for when you'll begin trying one new action, prototyping one new behavior that might give you a better idea of whether this is something you want to continue pursuing. Another part of prototyping is a life design interview. Now, this interview involves getting the story of someone who is doing something that you're interested in. It's not a job interview. It's a conversation with someone to find out what their job is actually like. Often, the life design interview leads to more opportunities, but the purpose is to try out a verbal prototype of an idea. Interview someone whose shoes you'd like to be in someday, or potentially like to be in someday, or if you're just wondering about whether you'd like to be in their shoes someday. If you get the chance for actually trying it out, even better. But if you can't do that, interview someone who's already doing it. Get an idea of what it's like. You can engage people around you to brainstorm prototype ideas as well. Just follow the following 2 rules. Look for quantity of ideas, not quality, and do not judge any ideas yet. Don't judge idea. You can also engage people around you to brainstorm prototype ideas. Just follow these 2 rules. Look for quantity of ideas, not quality. Again, quantity, not quality. And do not judge any ideas yet. Don't judge ideas initially. Ideally, there will be 3 to 6 people. You're looking for answers to an open-ended question here. Something like, how many ways can we think of to count all of your ideas, group them by category, and give each category a name that reverts back to the question. Then vote on the most exciting, the best choice if money was no issue, the best choice for a great life, and finally, decide which to prototype first, and then, go for it. Big idea number 6, learn how to get a job. Quote, it is a wonderfully happy accident that the very best technique you can use to learn what kind of work you might want to pursue, prototyping with life design interviews, is exactly the best, if not only, way to get into the hidden job market in your field of interest, once you know what you want. Unquote. The best way to find your ideal job is not through internet job postings, but sometimes you need a job before you can move forward with other prototyping. The authors have included a list, a series of instructions, so to speak, for successfully finding a job when it seems impossible to do so. Here's how it works. First, you want to understand that the person who wrote the job description by any medium is usually not the person hiring or the person who really understands the role of the job. The job description almost never captures what the job actually requires for success. Your first action, then, is to fit with the present job description. In your resume, use the same words that are used in the description. This will help you get past the database control that electronically sorts through applications. Use word for word as much as possible, or similar words and phrases. If you get to the screening interview, keep to a story that fits with their description, and always bring a fresh, nicely printed copy of your resume to an interview. For landing a job, avoid dysfunctional beliefs like you should focus on your need to find a job, and instead reframe them to you should focus on the hiring manager's need to find the right person for the job. All right, now you can start designing your dream job. Throw away dysfunctional beliefs, first and foremost, like my dream job is out there waiting. It doesn't work. It's a dysfunctional belief for a reason, right? Reframe it to something like, you design your dream job through a process of actively seeking and co-creating it. When you conduct your life design interviews, you're not looking for a job. You're looking for the story of the job. Often, these can lead to being asked if you're interested in working in the field, which can then lead to job prospects. But you want to begin by genuinely trying to interview that individual, getting to know the role. And oftentimes, the person that you're interviewing is so flattered by your interest in their position that Oftentimes, they'll ask you whether you'd be interested in learning more about the job or potential jobs that they have available within their company. Or you can also ask what you can do to become a part of that organization. If they don't go ahead and open the door for you by asking you, you could say something like, how would somebody become part of this organization if they were interested? You want to avoid asking if there's a position for you. Instead, you want to engage them in looking for ideas for you that will lead to your goal. Kurt was a highly successful, qualified, sustainable architect looking for a job in a new town. He submitted 38 targeted applications. He got 8 rejections and 30 never even responded. He continued to look online and apply with no success. So he eventually quit applying altogether and started conducting life design interviews. He conducted 56 authentic prototype conversations with people he was genuinely interested in meeting. He got 8 job offers as a result. During the interview for his dream job, he was asked by a board of directors how he would network and create partnerships, since he had recently moved to the area. He was able to speak directly to 3 of the board members whom he had already met through his life design interviews and show how capable he was of making the right connections. Dysfunctional belief? Network is just hustling people, it's slimy. Reframe that to networking is just asking for directions. Be genuinely curious about jobs, opportunities, and ideas. Look for ways to make interesting connections with others. These are often rewarding in and of themselves and lead to more opportunities as well. Big idea number 7, choose happiness. Quote, choosing happiness does not mean you should click your heels together 3 times while wishing to go to your happy place. The secret to happiness in life design isn't making the right choice. It's learning to choose well. Unquote. Choosing happiness takes 4 steps, according to the authors. First, take all the advice given so far to gather and create options. Next, narrow the list down if it's too big, or brainstorm or mind map more options if you're a few too short. And then remember, never go with your first idea. If you have trouble narrowing your list, try breaking the options down into subcategories first. Then start crossing things off. Third, choose discerningly. This is a good time to connect to your feelings and go with your gut. If you're still not sure which option to use, it's time to grok it, as the authors say. When you are grokking something, you are embracing the idea so fully that it becomes you. For example, imagine you had 3 choices for the upcoming year. Take a job, go to school, or get an internship. Grok each choice by imagining for 3 days that the choice is your reality. Live each day with this mindset. Take a few days off and then repeat the process with choice 2 and choice 3. Often, you'll have a strong feeling for what you really want to do after doing this experiment. And finally, the 4th step is to let go and move on. Don't agonize over your choice. This is just as important as actually making a choice. Instead, let's get better and better at building by getting better and better at letting go of the options we do not need anymore. Dysfunctional belief. Happiness is having it all. Reframe. Happiness is letting go of what you don't need. Big idea number 8, handling failure. Quote, once you become a life designing person and are living the ongoing creative process of life design, you can't fail. You can only be making progress and learning from the different kinds of experiences that failure and success both have to offer. Unquote. Both authors are now at a point in their life and teaching careers where they completely trust the process of life design. They even see teaching methods as always open to ideas with no one right way to run their classes. Not every prototype works, but that helps them learn what to do next. Dysfunctional belief. We judge our life by the outcome. Reframe. Life is a process, not an outcome. When you see your life as a series of opportunities for becoming more and more yourself and designing how to express the amazingness of you into the world, you can't fail. There aren't winners and losers when you're designing your life. There's just discovering, exploring, and becoming. When things happen outside of your control, just embrace them. Here's how you can learn to reframe failure. The first thing you'll need to learn is the habit of writing down your failures as they happen. This is self-explanatory. Designate a place in your journal, perhaps, for all of your screw-ups and log them every time you fail. Once you've got a place to put your failures, you'll need to categorize them into 3 specific categories. First, screw-ups. These are the times you mess up when you usually get it right. Second, weaknesses. These are the mistakes you just keep repeating. And thirdly, growth opportunities. These are the failures that don't have to happen again. Ask yourself what you can learn from your failures, what went wrong, and what you can change next time. All of these lead to growth and better design. As you get better at designing your life, you become tremendously empowered by designing your way forward, no matter what. Big idea number 9, include your community. Quote, co-creation is an integral aspect of a design point of view, and it's a key reason that design thinking works. Your life design isn't in you, it's in the world, where you will discover and co-create it with others. Unquote. The contributions and input from others are essential to help you design your life. Whether you're surrounded by community or beginning to build your own community, these are the types of people that you're going to want to include. Supporters. People that always give good feedback and encourage you. Players. The people actively involved in your life designing, and the people that do things with you. Intimates. Those closest to you. Try to keep them informed, if not involved, in your life design process. The team. The people who will work with you to keep you on track. They'll walk with you and keep you going. The facilitator. This is you. You are responsible for getting everyone together and having the agenda when you meet. With every team interaction, insist on respect, confidentiality, and nobody holding back, and being constructive instead of judgmental. Mentors are another important part of your community. Look for people who want to give helpful feedback and advice. Hearing, "if I were you," is usually not going to be a good sign. When you receive good counsel, you feel more settled and clear afterwards. Work to be involved in a community that shares a purpose, meets regularly, and has common ground, often common values or a common viewpoint. Life design is a journey, and it's really not as much fun to travel alone. Big idea number 10. Have a great mindset. Quote, dysfunctional belief. I finished designing my life. The hard work is done, and everything will be great. Reframe. You never finish designing your life. Life is a joyous and never-ending design project of building your way forward. Unquote. While the approaches and reframing in the book may feel hard to embrace, all are there to help you become more like you. Good design releases the best of what was already there, waiting to be found and revealed. To keep up a design-focused mindset, remember these things. Be curious. Try stuff. Reframe problems. Know that it's a process, and ask for help. Include any personal practices that bring out good things within you. meditation, healthy eating, faith practices, spirituality, the things that are just good for you. Often, you can change your life by just changing your state of mind, your perspective. Look always for the why and the who, and use these to reframe the situation so you can continue to design your life. Closing notes. The key takeaway from this book is this. Designing a meaningful life has very little to do with where you are right now and almost everything to do with where you're willing to go and how much you're willing to grow. Actionable insights. Assess your life to find out where you are right now. Decide what area to take action on and start gathering options. Begin trying prototypes. Remember that there's no failure, just continuous progress towards your destination. Choose to think and live in ways that focus on designing your life. And finally, maintain a mindset of enjoying a lifestyle of growing and learning and constant designing.